You know, I try not to be that guy. I try not to be the guy that's always farming and getting that drama-filled content to get the views. But I gotta be honest with you, this is something that has truly been outstanding. We have never seen such gaslighting to this level. We've talked about before in past videos of Sig's accomplishments where they came out with their P320 in 2014, started having issues in 2017 with dropping it going off, and then they fixed it, and then they later on went on to then have the issue of it going off in people's holsters, unholstering, reholstering, and sometimes just nothing happening at all. It just goes off. You guys don't need me to remind you about everything that's been going up to this point with the Air Force sergeant that had passed away from his P320 going off, still under investigation. Excuse me, M18. Yes, the military version. I felt like things may start dying down a little bit, and then it just got worse as of yesterday, which we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, let me just remind you guys, I will be at the GOA Goals event in Knoxville this weekend. I hope I get a chance to see some of y'all. I know I'm not really like the biggest career, but I've got 10 of y'all at least that watches this channel. I appreciate that. If you see me, make sure to stop by, say hi. I'll probably be floating around the Fat Tack booth somewhere, but I'll also be walking around throughout the showroom floor as well. And spoiler alert, I will have something for you if you stop by and see me and say hi. I have some new patches that, well, let's just say they're rather big. Those are 4-inch wide patches, and I've got 3 big giant bags to give out. Like 300 patches, so please, if you see me, say hi, I'll give you a patch. Recently, about a week ago, maybe a few days ago, we saw that there was a leaked court document that was recently redacted. I'm sure you've seen other YouTubers talk about, but essentially what this was a court document that had been covered up for the most part, except for 1 or 2 columns. Yeah, you can see there is a whole bunch of information, a bunch of different testing, the modular handgun system, pistol failure modes, really an assessment, if you will, of all the possible ways it can fail. They do that just to kind of show, hey, you know, this is what we've evaluated. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. It goes back to the issue with, not with the holstering or reholstering randomly going off, but this actually has to go and do with the original issue, the dropping and going off. See, it says here, and this is one of the redacted sections here, pistol accidentally unintentional discharges, impact to weapon, dropped, bumped, vibration. A huge crazy situation, right? I mean, who could imagine? You know, you won the military contract and you had this document. The document's day of February 17th. I can almost guarantee you they knew when they had won that contract that the handgun had a drop issue, right? Allegedly. All this is alleged, and it's all speculation. I'm just a man on YouTube with 10 viewers that likes to watch this channel. With all this in mind, with all this in context for you, let's go to this guy here. Now, this is Hunter's HD Gold from Alabama. I watched the first bit of this video here in the beginning, and he just really, for the most part, just kind of talks about himself, Hunter's HD Gold, talks about like who he is, how he started his business, really just a lot of fluff. So I skipped ahead a little bit, happened to get to right here about the 36 or 37 minute mark, and this is where things get interesting. I'll let you hear this here. This is, make sure I can let you guys see as much of this. There's the guy right there, and it's going to be hard to fit all this in. Maybe I can do a little finagling here, but I'll let you guys see it.
All the shooting is done from high ready. And typically, you know, when we see issues or inadvertent trigger pulls or trigger contact, it's usually in or around or coming out or going into the holster. You know, it's always kind of happening there. So
right.
It happens elsewhere, obviously, but very rarely. And for Shoot Sig, we haven't had any issues like that.
Now, let me pause real quick. I forgot to mention one thing. I didn't want to interrupt it, but both these guys, both the Hunter's HD Gold, as well as this gentleman here. You know, obviously this gentleman here, he is the Vice President of Consumer Affairs at Sig Sauer. This guy over here, Hunter's HD Gold, seems like an upstanding guy. But one thing you need to be aware of, again, this is all about context, is that think about USPSA. USPSA Very popular, probably arguably one of the most popular handgun competition events organizations around, right? Okay, so here's the thing that you need to really think about. So Sig Sauer has sponsored a lot of money, put a lot of money into USPSA. So they really want their SIGs, their P320s, and everything else to be in USPSA. They have put a lot of money into it. That's why IDPA's gotten rid of it, but USPSA probably hasn't. Of course, speculation. This guy here, the Hunter HD Gold, this is actually something he kind of tells on himself in the beginning of this video, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know. He is actually an official, like, partnered official eyewear. His glasses that he created are the like official USPSA eyewear. Okay, so he's affiliated very heavily with USPSA. So is Sig, obviously. So it's kind of like a little triangle of affiliation, a little web, if you will. So this guy's not going to really press the hard issues. You know, he does show some videos here of some incidences that have happened, but he's not really calling this guy on some of his responses. You'll see what I mean.
At all. And we've had a lot of matches. We've shot a lot of rounds there.
Well, I do want to get into some questions that were emailed to me as well before we got started. Sure. And the reason I wanted to cover the shooting sports, because the shooting sports uses this gun based on just one shooting sport that I got information from USPSA. That's a lot of times the gun's being used. And that's a great signal based on my shooting sports. Is like that's very important for people to understand. So, you know, there's a big thing that, you know, that kind of got a lot of stuff started and got my attention later on. The It Ends Today campaign seemed to only draw more attention and negative press. Why did you guys make that post? You know, what can you say about that? Because we're still talking about it today.
All right. Well, listen, I can't speak for the rationale or the mentality of the people that were behind that statement. At the time, I was the director of the Sig Sauer Academy.
It wasn't his fault. We're going to blame someone else for it. You know, that wasn't too long ago, but, you know, it's only been, what, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? Not his fault.
What I would say, and, you know, and it sounds like defending, but I don't want it to sound that way, because, listen, if we could go back, if we could rewind and rewrite the script, would that statement, you know, have been worded that way? Probably not. Right? If we knew it was going to get that kind of a vehement response, I would guess that maybe we wouldn't have sent it, or maybe we wouldn't have worded it in a way that upset people. There was only one real documented unintentional discharge, and it was during a quick draw drill. I think it was a recruits class, or it was either a recruit class or in-service training class, and they were basically doing a quick draw drill. There's actually very fuzzy video footage of you know, this gun going off during a draw stroke.
You see what he's kind of doing? He's trying to discredit the evidence. That's what he's trying to do here.
And of course, because of that, and because of some of the rhetoric that had been spun before that, the person that was running that academy, they just made this decision to, it must be the gun. It's so we're going to go ahead and stop using it. And what they didn't understand that is that kind of, not only did it start a chain reaction of, well, if they did it, we should do it. But now you've got police departments who have been issuing and carrying P320s with no issues, no problems. And now they have nowhere to train. And if they have a recruit class come through and they have to send their recruits to this facility, then what do? Are they going to qualify and learn how to shoot on a different weapon system and then have to relearn when they get to their police department? So it was causing a lot of issues, and we weren't saying anything, right? We were basically trying to address it quietly and
by quietly, I mean you were trying to settle all the lawsuits and court cases against you.
This snowball effect. The snowball effect starts where one agency will say, hey, you know what, we're going to stop using it too. And then another agency will come along and say, well, yeah, we did hear about some things on the internet and some things have been going around, and there's a lot more. We're hearing about this a lot more.
Just some things on the internet, guys. You know, we're just hearing about some things. You know, we're just going to stop because we're hearing some things. Yeah, that's all, guys. No big deal. Not like there's hundreds and thousands of incidences on YouTube and video evidence other places that show it's having issues. No big deal.
Because, you know, it's a self-licking ice cream cone. The internet, if it sensationalizes P320s and unintentional negligent discharges going off the P320, and that's getting views, and that's what people are noticing, but that's what's getting the views, then you keep covering it, right? I mean,
it's getting the views because it's a legitimate problem. And
right now,
oops, I hate that about Rumble. Sometimes it automatically plays. It's getting the views because it's a legitimate problem. If it wasn't a problem, people wouldn't be viewing it. There's plenty of other guns that you can find on YouTube, Glocks included, that are going off, and people have video evidence of those. But it's not happening to the extent that's happening with the Sig P320, and the fact that they have denied it, and it's been a huge cover-up, and they have gas lists. That is why it's like the Streisand effect. That's why everyone is talking about it. Had they owned up to it and handled it, then maybe we wouldn't be talking about it so much. The fact that they don't handle it and they continue to gaslight us, even in this very video that just came out again a day or two ago, this is why we keep talking about it. It's literally the Streisand effect. This video is 3 hours and 13 minutes long, but I think I gave you enough of a taste so you can get an idea of what's going on. And it's very, I mean, look at the comments here. I'll show you this last part here. It's kind of cut off a little bit. Let me fix that. The comments are not going well at all. That focus strip said, how would you feel if you didn't eat breakfast? I mean, it's just, they're getting tore up in these comments of this very same interview. Like talking about the owner manual getting updated. This is bad. This is bad, and this is like just hard to watch. But I highly suggest you go and watch more of it if you want to see more. It ain't looking good. And this interview really, I feel like didn't do them any favors either. Guys, do this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. I hope I see you guys at Goals this weekend. If you see me, I've got a bunch of patches. Don't know what I got into with this. But anyways, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. We'll see you next time.